Your last call to bet on all 32 teams is upon us. That's right. It's our NFL Week 18 best bets for the ATS totals, player props, and anytime touchdown markets. All this and more. It's a brand new edition of the IBT podcast coming right at you.
I've been going dummy, out of bounds, putting on a clinic. Stick around, carrots in my hardware. KC, caught him in the crosshair. Look at me, been the guy calling Mr. MVP. Keep your ass on the bench by my empty seat. Earn my stripes like I fix this league. Your dog's on the turf, my dog's in the street. You can find me somewhere in between. Never a dull moment like a movie scene. About to do the ops like I did this beat. Let them keep talking RG3. Coming to you live. This is the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast.
All right, and welcome into the In Between Fantasy Football Podcast, your place for both a refreshing and feel-good take on fantasy football and NFL gambling. Week 18 is upon us. The final week of the regular season has come. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, coming off a 5-2 week where most of my bets were non-sweaters, over by halftime. So that was great to have. Also joining back with me is Boston's boy. He's our IBT NFL and entertainment betting expert. He's Steven Lawson. Steve, how are you? And how are you feeling about week 18? Because it's certainly always a little bit of a predicament, especially with a lot of teams arresting their players and such every single week.
You know what? I soak up as much football as possible because the offseason is looming large and that dead zone is going to hurt real bad. So any chance I get to watch football, I don't care if it's week 18 and half the teams are out of the playoff picture. Yeah. I'm invested. I'm excited. And I think we got some interesting matchups that I think Vegas is kind of being a little bullish about their lines.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely one of those things where we are recording this a little later in the week than usual because we did want to wait for some of that movement to happen. There are some giant spreads earlier in the week. Those have certainly shrunk down. Totals are kind of pretty low across the board as well. I think Vegas is expecting a lot of these teams to, hey, I'm making plans. I'm heading to Fiji. I'm heading to the Bahamas, the Caribbean, wherever after this, and get ready for that vacation a little bit early. But you might have some different thoughts on that. So excited to dive in to your best bets. Of course, Steve will have his 3 best bets. I'll have my 3 best bets. And then we'll each have 2 anytime touchdown calls for you. We'll update the leaderboard for the contest as well. So a lot of good stuff happening right here at IBT. Before we jump into the program, shout out to everyone who is making us a part of their week, whether you're on the In Between Media YouTube channel or on that audio feed as well. We really appreciate all support, especially as we head into the new year. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel as quick as possible before Super Bowl weekend hits, and we can only do that with your help. So please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. Also, make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you're new. And a quick reminder that we also have a lot of stuff happening over on the community side of things at IBT as well, including the IBT football family, where you can now join for absolutely free. We've had a ton of new members over the past couple weeks. You can get access to our analysts for any fantasy football, NFL, or college football betting questions you have. That is at no cost to you. You're also going to get entered into our memorabilia giveaways at no cost. And if you want, you can upgrade for $3.99 per month or $36 for the year. You're going to get full access to our betting cards and the touchdown call contest. And you're also going to include then unlocking our entire NASCAR family. We finished the season 65 units in the green, and it was great with our IBT betting model at hand. We have the touchdown or the head-to-head contest over there, full picks, memorabilia giveaways, chatting with us, Ryan Fine Fantasy Racing as well. And Steve, we also have the PGA and entertainment family launching in the new year, where we'll get your entertainment betting model for all things call sheet, whether that's over-unders on box office numbers, whether that's Rotten Tomato scores. You're going to be putting that out. We're also going to be having some leagues over there on bracketology.com. So a lot of fun stuff coming your way on the entertainment betting side of things as well.
Yeah, I'm super, super excited. I've worked really hard on making sure that my betting model kind of hits at a high enough percentage that it's worth it to the people to sign up. And I can honestly say that it is hitting with surprising accuracy with the Rotten Tomatoes and at over 50%. So I'm really excited. And some of these models have put it to the number. It predicts 68% in it. Those movies have hit 68%. So we've worked really hard. We have a great team. Obviously, Trash and Jake over on the show are absolute killers when it comes to the just the pulse of Hollywood and the pulse of movies. And when we're trying to bring as much excitement to the movie fan as possible, because that's our passion. You know what I mean? We love movies. We love TV. We love music. And we want to make sure that we're sharing that with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just love, whether it's entertainment or sports betting here, cashing in on that knowledge, right? If we have this knowledge, why not put it to the test? Why not have some cold hard cash coming back our way from it? So go ahead. You can join for free right now. All the IBT families in dashbetweenmedia.com/chat. Link is in the episode description as well. And also a free bonus tournament we have ripping right now as well. Only less than a week to get invested with this. It is our PropDecks playoff contest. PropDecks, they are a really cool platform where you actually build a fantasy football lineup, but it's based on player props, right? So you go through wild card weekends can be starting. We're going to go all the way through the Super Bowl, and the winner's going to take home a $200 Fanatics gift card. Second place, you're going to win an autographed Zach Evans Ole Miss Rebels jersey. Big win for Ole Miss last night, so that was great to see on the upset over the Georgia Bulldogs. And third place, that's going to score you an entry into our 2026 edition of Draft Night Out. That's our live fantasy football draft party in Canton, Ohio at the Fantasy Football Expo this July. So ton of stuff happening. Limited spots available though. Join for free now. Go to in-betweenmedia.com/chat. Join the Discord and then go to the NFL Playoffs PropDecks contest channel. Huge thank you to our partner PropDecks for helping us host this and making the NFL Playoffs just a bit more fun as we round it out here in the season. And Steve, what do you say, man? We go ahead and fire up between bets and start laying them out for the people.
Yeah, I'm hyped. Let's do it.
All right, firing up in between bets coming your way.
Between bets. Between bets.
All right, we got to dip, dive, and dodge around these Week 18 inactives, looking at motivation, where teams are playing, where they are not playing, what's going into this. So with that being said, I have a couple player props. Steve, I know you're heavy in the totals market. I'm going to start us out here with my third best bet, and it's Michael Wilson over receptions or receiving yards. I'm probably, when this releases everywhere in the Pennsylvania books, going to be taking both. I'll probably have a little parlay action on both of them as well, because look, man, when Marvin Harrison Jr. is away, Michael Wilson comes out and plays, right? I mean, he's averaging 10.3 receptions, 15 targets, 124 receiving yards in the 4 games we have not seen MHJ out there. Marv, of course, he's going to be out with that heel injury this week, and it sets up a golden matchup against the Los Angeles Rams. And while the Rams have been a really great team this season, Steve, they haven't been great against receivers over the past month. They've actually allowed the most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers in that 4-week span. 7th most receptions with 13 receptions going to the position per game, 6th most receiving yards as well. And they're over a touchdown favorite against the Cardinals right now. So I think Jacoby Brissett likely trailing in this game, likely going to have to pass a lot. Michael Wilson only 93 yards away from 1,000 this year. So I think he's motivated to make a big push, put that 1,000-yard season on his resume heading into 2026. So Michael Wilson, whether it's the receptions right now opening over 5.5, you're going to pay a little juice, minus 130. I'm going to be taking that. I'm probably also going to be taking his receiving yards again and parlay that together. But Michael Wilson going over the receptions and receiving yards, first best bet for a guy I know you're very friendly from with coming out of Stanford, Steve.
Yeah, I love Michael Wilson. He nearly got me into the Scott Fish Bowl final single-handedly. Yeah. He is a monster. It begs the question of, why is this guy not utilized as the number one when Marvin Harrison is there? But yeah, this is a slam dunk, right? And here's the theme that's going to be present throughout this episode for me, is that as the season wears on and teams get eliminated from playoff contention, offense very rarely sags, because they usually have incentive-based contracts that they want to hit numbers. Defense is where a lot of effort comes in, right? It's much harder to be a defender than it is to be an offensive player.
Also,
right?
cold, hard to tackle in the cold.
Right.
Yeah.
Cold, tackling, all that stuff, right? But tackling just in general, right? You just don't have that same motivation all the time to go out there, put your body on the line, be like, I'm going to take these hits, I'm going to do this stuff. So offenses tend to get a bump as the season wears on, because teams are just not trying as hard on defense. So I think this over is going to smash. I would even take an alt line at 6.5 if it meant I didn't have to drink some of that juice anymore.
Okay, and you speaking of offense staying consistent, defenses wearing down a bit as the new year is upon us, that's where you're heading in this NFC North divisional matchup.
Yeah, because 35.5 is kind of a comically low line, right? Like I know the Vikings don't have JJ McCarthy. I know they're kind of like banged up and Brian Flores is on a heater right now. Of all the defenses that are going to like take a week off, the Vikings are probably the least likely in the league to take the week off. But this doesn't mean that whether it's Malik Willis or Jordan Love or whoever, the Packers have a great offense. Matt LaFleur is a
Mhm.
fantastic play caller, right? So he's trying to secure good standing in the playoff, get things ready, get everything tuned up. That's the other thing that people have to remember is some of these playoff teams, they're not just going to like be like, we made it, we're good, throw our hands up. They're fine tuning things. They're getting rid of some kinks that may have shown themselves late in the season. They want to be ready to go for that wild card round, that divisional round, that kind
Mhm.
of stuff. 35.5, that is a really low line for any game whatsoever. Never mind a game between, two division rivals that are going to want to put up points. Like these guys, offensive players have a lot of pride to, again, they have those incentive laden contracts. I'm sure Justin Jefferson would like to get into the end zone once or twice. Josh Jacobs is probably he may take the week off, but even Emmanuel Wilson he's good. He
Mhm.
can get into the end zone. I think this is a very low line. This is almost too low to even be considered serious.
And just as we're recording, I'm actually seeing coming out of Green Bay, it will be Clayton Tune under center, Malik Willis out of this one. Love did clear concussion protocol, but he's going to sit out for the Packers. Not much to play for
Yeah.
seating wise. However, the thought of Brosmer versus Tune out there could lead to some short fields, right? Could lead to some ugly
Right.
turnovers that all of a sudden the Packers are in
That's
scoring position because Brosmer is
that's the
throwing a
other
bad
thing
pick.
is
Yeah.
these two guys, like especially Brosmer, right? We've seen it. He'll hand a pick six to the defense at any point. He may hand
Mhm.
two of them.
Mhm.
The Packers just got Travion Diggs as well.
Mhm.
Added him to that secondary. You know he's going to come out motivated to prove that he's worth the money and he's not a bum. This is a line that it can be hit by accident. And that's why I'm going to bet these kind of low lines
Mhm.
because teams, no matter who's out there, could accidentally hit it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and fire up my second best bet of the week. Again, I'm going to pay a little bit of juice here. I'm going Dallas Cowboys on the alt minus 2.5 point spread. This is originally at 3.5. So I am paying quite a bit of juice just to drop it a point to that key number of 2.5. But there's a reason I'm dropping it to that against the New York Giants because, first of all, like the Giants, yes, they got up last week against the Raiders, but let's throw that game out the window because the Raiders were sitting just about everyone. They were very motivated to lose that, put themselves in position to draft Fernando Mendoza with that number 1 overall pick. But prior to that, the Giants had failed to cover this number in 8 straight games. And we saw it in a few different matchups, whether it was Minnesota, Jacksonville. If Jackson Dart gets down, and they start sending the dogs after him. And with how bad this offensive line is right now because of all the injuries, like he is going to struggle, right? He is going to struggle under pressure. That's the one thing he has struggled as a rookie is thrown under pressure. So Dallas, like they haven't been great either lately, right? Like I can't fool you and say they've been awesome, but they have covered this number in divisional games in 4 out of 5 times this year. They've also covered this number straight, Steve, historically in 13 straight games against the New York Giants. Last time they did not was 2019. I had them on the money line going all the way back. I think that was a September game, and they almost blew it in Jerry World. But with neither team having a lot to play for, I'd argue that the Cowboys actually have a decent amount to play for in terms of pride, right? Like they cannot lose to the Giants. They have not done so this decade. So I don't think they're going to start now in week 18. So give me the Dallas Cowboys alt minus 2.5. The only way I see this losing is if somehow this is a 1-point game and if the Cowboys get up and they can, get Jackson Dart in some obvious passing down situations, I think they're going to roll. So give me Dallas Cowboys alt minus 2.5, minus 156 at DraftKings against the G-Men.
Yeah, I like this. And frankly, like the Cowboys don't have much to play for, but the Giants have a lot of reason to lose, right?
Yeah.
They like this is not necessarily a game they want to win because they want to have as good of positioning in the draft at this point as they possibly can to add an offensive lineman potentially to help protect Jackson Dart or
Mhm.
get a linebacker in that linebacking core because it's abysmal. Like
Arvell Reese out there. Oh,
yeah,
that would be scary.
like,
Yeah.
that's what I mean, but, like, they need that, right? Like, this team
Mhm.
cannot possibly look at themselves and be like, "Yeah, we're ready to go." There's a lot of reasons why this team may want to, like, kinda choke this one away. So 2.5 is pretty good. as bad as the Cowboys defense is, their offense is significantly better.
Mm-hmm.
And the Giants defense is worse, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a pretty solid line. I probably wouldn't have taken the alt, but I don't mind going for it
Yeah.
and putting it on Brandon Aubrey to get you the win.
Yeah, I just hate the 3.5 in the hook there sometimes, and I've been burned by
Yeah.
that recently. Last night, I was up, and I had a feeling Ole Miss could win that game on the college side of things, Steve. And late in that second quarter, they are only down by 2 points, and they end up fumble sixing it, and I get screwed there on that. So I'm just always like a super cautious bettor. It's kind of the approach I take, because even though, I'm drinking some almost minus 160 juice, as our great friend Rod Villagomez over on the back road says, you only pay the juice if you lose. And I don't think this one's losing. So speaking of losing, you're not expecting a lack of points and maybe a loss for the Buffalo Bills, despite Josh Allen not being up for this game against the New York Jets. You're still thinking it's going to go over this point total of 37.5 with Brady Cook under center for the Jets. And then the Buffalo Bills will be rolling out their backup quarterback as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, these guys, like, while they are backups, they don't want to like just go out there and not show what they're all playing for a contract.
Especially Mitch Trubisky, right? Because he's always a guy with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder.
Right, and they're all playing to show like they belong in the NFL. If they roll out there, throw 5 interceptions, and like put up no points, that could be the end of their career. Josh Allen can have a dud. You cannot have a dud when you get one shot in a season to go out there and do something. Both of these defenses are pretty bad to mid, right? The Buffalo Bills aren't a great defense. The Jets, it's like basically a sieve. 37.5. Breece Hall's a great running back. He could probably get behind the Bills defense a few times. James Cook is going to go ballistic against the Jets. He wants to lead the league in rushing, so he's going to go try to do that. Mitch Trubisky is going to want to put up points, and we know he can. So this is another line that these two teams could stumble into. And Brady Cook plays backyard football. He just chucks it everywhere. Whether it's to the other team, his team, he doesn't care. He's slinging it. So again, opportunity for defensive touchdowns, opportunity for garbage time, right? The whole game's garbage time, right? That's the thing. Think of it that way. The whole game is garbage time. So now it's just going to be whatever we want to do. Every trick play in your book, go for it. Go nuts. Have fun. Like, it's the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Jets who are 10-6, surprisingly, to the over this season. Buffalo coming in at 500 to the over-under. So it's two teams that are not playing to the under necessarily a ton. We'll see what happens in this divisional matchup, but keep an eye on that weather up there in Orchard Park. We are hearing that Buffalo is once again making the back call, if you would, Steve, to the local residents. Hey, we need some snow removal help, but snow doesn't hurt the total. Right. It's really like strong wind is when you get a bad, situation for points. And I'm not expecting bad winds up there in Buffalo. It's going to be packed in a little bit. Everyone's going to be potentially throwing some snowballs there at the Jets fans. So you're going with the over in that game. I'm actually going to stay in that game for my best bet of the week. And I'm going to Ty Johnson over on the rushing yards. Right now, we do not have a line out for this, Steve, but BP is projecting this to 8.5. If this comes out really anywhere under 15, I'm going to take it. And if it does go over 15, let's just say we get some rumors that maybe James Cook not going to play the whole game, and it Vegas ups this line. I'll go the over on the rushing plus receiving yards, because Ty Johnson has hit this over of 8.5 yards in 4 straight games, averaging 17.2 yards per game in that span, 3.5 carries per game. But with Josh Allen out already, and this line still sitting at 6.5 points on the spread, like, I think James Cook is not going to get a ton of run. I don't think he's going to get a ton of burn in this one. I think Johnson is going to take advantage of a team that in the Jets has allowed the 10th most rushing yards over the past month, 2 running backs, 105.5 per game. Ty Johnson, also some heavy incentives this week. He gets a couple extra $100,000 if he scores a touchdown, 57 receiving yards. He gets an extra $250,000, 136 rushing yards. That one feels a bit out of reach, but he also gets a bonus for that. So he's a fan favorite here in Western New York. Like, they love Ty Johnson just because he's a gamer type of player. So I think they're going to help him at least get a few of these incentives. Backup running backs have also been very, very solid against the Jets. We're going to throw out that Saints game because they didn't run a running back more than 5 times. It was Taysom Hill who's taking double-digit carries in that. But outside of that game, the last 4 games for the Jets, we had Ramondre Stevenson. He went for 47 yards on 8 carries. LaQuint Allen of the Jaguars, he went for 11 yards on 4 carries. Jalen Wright, he had a monster game when Devon Achane went down, 107 yards. And Tyler Algier, he got 8 carries for 20 yards as well. So I love some Ty Johnson in this game. Give me a little backup running back action for the Bills. It's backup season after all, Steve. And speaking of backup season, we actually won't see a ton of backups, at least to my knowledge as of now, with the Bengals and the Browns, both fairly motivated for this one, going over 44.5 RU, minus 110 at DraftKings for this AFC North divisional battle.
Yeah, and again, divisional battles are always kind of fun to bet on, and they tend to play really hard.
Mm-hmm.
The thing I love about both these teams is their defenses are terrible. They're just bad defenses overall. And Myles Garrett is a half sack away from setting the all-time single season record in sacks. That's fine. Everything else points to this being an absolute shootout because neither team has any incentive to play defense. Again, the season is over. That's where you get hurt. There's no incentive to get hurt. Joe Burrow is going to come out. He's probably just going to be slinging it to Jamar Chase, trying to get him, because I think Chase is 11 receptions, I believe, away from setting the single season reception record for the Cincinnati Bengals. So that is a real incentive for Joe Burrow to come out and start slinging the ball around the field, right? He wants to get his buddy those kind of records, those kind of accolades. I think we're going to see a shootout. I know the Bengals defense is as bad as we've seen in the NFL in a long time. Shedeur Sanders, while I'm not a huge fan of his ability as a quarterback, the screen game in Cleveland is pretty good. Dylan Sampson is perfectly capable of being a solid backup. And Raheem Sanders is a real good goal line back, real threat. I loved him coming out of college, and I'm super excited to watch him get some run here against a pretty bad defense to see what he can actually do.
Yeah, Sanders actually got the start last week against Pittsburgh. And, I know people are going to look back at that Pittsburgh game and say, man, that was ugly. Do you really want to go with an over in this one? I will say, though, Pittsburgh really did make their entire game plan last week around hey, let's not let Myles Garrett get the sack. It really handicapped them.
Goofy.
It was. And part of that was, Rodgers was under pressure. He had to make some checkdowns, but it was just a lot of bad decisions in that game from Pittsburgh. And I would say if they had DK Metcalf, they maybe not only score one additional touchdown, but maybe two. They missed a field goal by Boswell as well. So a lot of things went wrong in that game for Pittsburgh. I'm not expecting as much for the Bengals, who, as he said, man, they're motivated. They're going to let it fly, see what they can do to get Chase some records. So, Steve, I like that as your best bet. I also like the anytime touchdown call contest where I got going on over here at IBT as well, presented by our friends over there at Dynasty Decks. If you guys haven't heard of Dynasty Decks yet, it is honestly, I think the greatest way to memorialize your fantasy football season, because if you're like me, a couple years ago, I think it was actually 2 years ago, went to the draft for my league. I broke the trophy. It was a bummer. And then I lost the name of previous winners as well. So I was in a world of hurt.
How did you break it?
I just put it in the back seat of my car, and I didn't buckle it in. I kind of put it on the floor, and the way I must have hit a bump, and it kind of just broke off. So yeah, but the cool thing about Dynasty Deck, Steve, is you can get a new plaque every single year for your winner. It's very low cost, and even if you're doing something like a golf scramble, like we do over here at IBT every single year, or you're doing a charity basketball tournament. I know you're involved with a bunch of those up in the greater Boston area as well. You can memorialize that over here at Dynasty Decks, and on the touchdown call contest as well. What a time this has been, because I've been on quite the run, and I'm still nowhere close to our guy Trav sitting in that number one spot. He's been almost leading from start to finish. He's at least been in the top three almost all year long. He got 3 of them last week as well. 2 of those coming, I believe, from Chase Brown. So he's at 30 is Trav. Rob and I right now tied for second and third in that bronze and that silver category, which means nothing in this contest. 25 apiece. James still rocking and rolling with 22. Steve on the left side of the board, but barely with 21. Eric Trash tied with in 6th and 7th with 19 correct called touchdowns. Ben with 18. Jake Perry back on the board finally with 16 after hosting that episode with me last week. So, Steve, you got to get back on the board here. You're falling behind here a little bit for that bronze medal category. So where are you going for your Week 18 anytime touchdown calls, my friend?
Yeah, I'm going with the guy who's been on a bit of a heater here lately, DeAndre Swift. He's running well. And he's, you know what? I applaud him because I called him out early in the offseason, in the fantasy offseason, saying this is a guy we want to have. It's proven to be right. He is a very good running back right now in this system. It fits him perfectly, and he's going for touchdowns. So I'm definitely going to rely on the Chicago Bears running back to get me up the board. I'm running out of time.
Yep. And you're also going with one running back that we will also see in the postseason. So still a couple more weeks to go in the contest, but you are saying, hey, I'm going to unload the clip. I'm going to use my stud CMC token right now.
Yep, I'm using it right now because he's got 1,000 and 1,000 on the line right now. He is crazy close to being a 1K again kind of guy. So I assume that he's going to get the opportunities. Week 18 is it's tough, right? It's tough to pick touchdown calls because the guys you want to pick tend to get sat out and stuff like that. But I think McCaffrey's going to get at least one, maybe two, get him in, get him out, bing, bang, boom, and move me up that leaderboard.
Yeah, it's a game against Seattle where like everything's on the line for this. If you're talking about motivation and looking for it in week 18, it doesn't come much more than the 49ers and the Seahawks, right? They're not only playing for their division lead, but also for the number 1 overall seed in the NFC.
Yeah, home field advantage is on the line. I expect CMC to be heavily, like really involved. Like that's why you kind of have to look and go, who's sitting, who's starting. CMC minus 160. Vegas agrees with me, right? This guy's getting into the end zone.
Yep, and George Kittle also banged up out there as well. We don't know how healthy those pass catchers have been. They haven't really been that healthy all season long. We'll see if Ricky Sticky, Jawan Jennings, and company can also, supply a little bit of backup there for CMC. For my anytime touchdowns, though, Steve, I'm going to go back to the well of Ty Johnson here. He's on the thumbnail this week, 150K richer if he finds pay dirt in this game. Josh Allen, who he snaked 2 of them last week from James Cook and company, he's going to already be out of this one. And I don't know how much James Cook's going to be playing, right? Like, are you really going to risk your franchise running back, a guy you've paid and who can take you to the promised land this offseason or this postseason? Like, this is the year for the Bills, right? Like, they can't have anything go wrong. They have to keep their offensive players up healthy as long as they can because they don't have a great defense. And the Jets have still allowed the most touchdowns to running backs over the past month, 5 on the ground, 4 through the air, 9 total. And we've been cashing in every single week, Steve. It really feels like that, man. Whether it was last week with Ramondre, a couple weeks ago, we've been continuing to cash in. So Ty Johnson, anytime touchdown, plus 375. I love that number. It'll probably still be like, half, maybe 1/6 of a unit sprinkle for me, but I'm going to go with him to find the end zone. And then also, I haven't used him all season long, and now I can actually use him as a plus money option too. Jonathan Taylor, anytime touchdown, plus 110? Are you kidding me? Bet365, thank you for this. The gambling gods have provided once again here, man. JT, say what you want about this team. The Indianapolis Colts, they have definitely faltered down the stretch, but he has at least scored, found pay dirt in 2 of 3 games with Uncle Phil under center. That includes 2 straight. And Houston, they've allowed 4 touchdowns, 2 opposing running backs over the past month. O'Marion found the end zone against them last week. Genty had 2 the week prior. Nobody found the end zone for the Cardinals the week prior to that. However, that was the game when Bam Knight got hurt, right? So they're kind of a bit out of sorts. Kareem Hunt, the game before that, he found the end zone in week 14. So that makes 4 touchdowns, 2 opposing running backs in the past month. I think Jonathan Taylor, low plus money option here, Steve. I don't think we ever thought we'd see JT at plus money to score a touchdown, but here we are right now, man. So I'm going to go ahead and capitalize on that.
Yeah, and you should, right? That's a fantastic pick. I would have loved to, but I used Jonathan Taylor twice, and I think I only got 1 touchdown out of him.
Yeah,
so
it
was a little brutal. Him and Bijan really let me down this season. I picked them in the worst kind of weeks, but yeah, I love this pick. Again, the Colts are leaning heavily on Jonathan Taylor with the old man under center, so yeah. I think the opportunity is there aplenty.
Okay. Well, Steve, great stuff as always. I appreciate your best bets that you came to the table with today. That is going to do it for us tonight on the In Between Fantasy Football podcast. If you've rode along with us so far this episode, please just a quick favor, give this video a thumbs up. Also, make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you're new. We got fantasy football, NFL betting content, college football betting, NASCAR betting, PGA betting, and entertainment betting, all to help you cash more and enjoy the ride along the way. Be sure to check out in-betweenmedia.com. We have some dope written content over there. Also, join the Discord for free right now. You can get invested with our PropDecks postseason tournament. We want you guys playing along with us, winning those prizes that PropDecks and ourselves have come to provide you with. Again, that's in-betweenmedia.com/chat to get invested over there. For my friend Steven Lawson, I'm Seth Woolcock. Thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year, and keep it in between till next time, folks.